Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Daily Arsenal Podcast, brought to you as part of the Global Sports Podcast Network. You may be able to tell from that exclamation of air, we've not had the best night here on the Arsenal Podcast. It is Wednesday evening. This is coming out tomorrow. And we have just watched Arsenal, let's be honest, lads, get humbled by Newcastle United at St James's Park. Arsenal lost 2-0 on the night, 4-0 on aggregate in the Carabao Cup Semi Final, meaning that Newcastle are the first finalists of the tournament and will be playing mid-March. I'm your host, Josh Vince, today joined by Craig Matthews and Joshua Duncan. Craig, just a couple of sentences, a brief overview. How are you feeling, man? Exactly.
That's how I feel. Like, waste of opportunity to get to Wembley, win a trophy. I don't know, man. That's what I got to say.
Yeah. Josh, what about yourself? I mean, we both seem to be at a bit of a loss. Have you got anything to say?
Well, I mean, was it a couple of weeks ago when we lost at the Emirates, I kind of said it's kind of done now. So I'm not too disappointed, you know. Obviously it's bad to come out, you know, another competition that we could have, you know, you probably would have wanted to see more fight from the boys, but you know, we need to keep moving on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I think we all sort of had a feeling like 2-0 at St James's Park was going to be a hell of a mountain to climb.
Yeah.
And it definitely proved that, especially with how the game started. So we're going to first of all go through. Oh God, we're going to go through this game. I think before we get started, I think the problem that I have with this game was just how we rolled over and just let them annihilate us.
Yeah.
It was just brutal. Anyway, let's get through this game quickly and get this episode out. It started off awfully. Isak bearing down on goal. He had a brilliant finish with his right foot into the roof of the net, disallowed thanks to a very, very close offside. Like, Craig, the warning signs were there immediately, weren't they?
Definitely.
Yeah.
After that, nothing.
Yeah, it was a very, very, very weak showing from our sort of like defensive line. I mean, Josh, the sound in the stadium, obviously we weren't at St James's, and God, I'm so sorry to any Arsenal fans that travelled up from London to Newcastle, because that is not a short journey to watch that. The atmosphere in there, Josh, sounded incredible.
Yeah, I've noticed every time we have gone to St James's Park, I don't know, I don't watch much Newcastle games. I don't know if they're like that every week, but every time you know, we roll up there, they really do go out. They're the 11th man for their 12th man for their team, you know, and they really showed and they got behind the team, and fair play to them, you know, they won the game. I
mean, they've got a lot of. I was doing a podcast with Jules earlier, sort of like our crossover with the City guys to review the game. And I mentioned to them, you know, they haven't won silverware in 80 years.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, it is a huge motivation for them going forward. Craig, in the start of the game, Arsenal had absolutely zero control. It was the same midfield that dominated Man City at the weekend, that three of Eurgh, Rice and Partey. But in the first half of the game, Eurgh was having to drop deep because the other two were doing nothing.
Yeah, he had to drop deep, and when he got control, he's a very good ball carrier and he's very composed on the ball. But to be fair, he should have finished the chance he had in the first. Like, he finished that chance that he had, and then in a different game, because they went up even a second or 2 minutes later, they went the other end and scored. If you remember correctly, they went and scored the goal. So it's the margins, it's fine margins. Sometimes like a goal have gone in, they've been 2-1 on aggregate. Newcastle have been panicking, then they have to go out and attack, and then we can hit them on the counter attack. But the midfield today was shocking.
It really was
shocking today.
It really was.
Yeah.
Now, Josh, I was watching it on Sky, but it's on my PlayStation, and my Wi-Fi was giving up on me, so I didn't actually see the Eurgh chance. Was it a good opportunity to put the ball away for him?
Yeah, I think he should have scored. You know, there were chances there. you got to put them back in the net. Do you know what I mean? A little bit unlucky, but you got. I mean, you hit on target, it goes in. Do you know what I mean? Really, a game like this, considering what we did on the weekend as well, I thought there would be a bit more fight from the boys. I think that's the only thing I'm kind of a bit annoyed about. You know, I thought, yeah, they'll probably be up for it. Even if it was a close game, even if we won 1-0, do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, you go out there, you've done your best. But yeah, Eurgh, she should have scored.
Okay, so you didn't even hit the target. That's heartbreaking. Newcastle then went 1-0 up, Craig. I mean, Isak completely getting the best of Saliba. Going into a challenge with him, he sticks his foot out to actually win the ball off of Saliba and send it to Gordon, who plays it back to him very quickly. Isak somehow, I'm not entirely sure how he controlled it. It almost like he controlled it with his stomach and then just flew past. An incredible shot, by the way, from Isak, ricocheting off the crossbar, and Murphy comes in to finish the rebound. I mean, how much do we need a player like Isak? Because he was outrageous today.
Tonight, you're watching the player that we need, the player that we have. The levels and difference. I always rate Isak. I always rated him at Sociedad. I always rated him at other clubs at Dortmund as well. I always thought he was a good little player. I thought the only thing that maybe stopped him in the past is consistency. But since he's come to Newcastle, I think he's got a goal every 1 in 2 or 1 in 3 is goal record. So it goes to show sometimes it's final margins, but sometimes like we were linked to him as well. We didn't go for him when Aubameyang was playing up at the club at the time. We were linked with him and we didn't go for him. So it goes to show we need someone like that in our team who can put the ball in the back of the net. It's different from all the strikers in the Premier League. Like, obviously, you've got Haaland, you've got other strikers as well, but he just does things different. Like he can score any type of goal. He can score headers, he can score long shots, he can score short shots inside the box. He's a menace. He's got pace. He's quick. We don't have that in our team, so we saw today that we need someone like him in our team to transform, take us to the next level.
Massively. And I mean, Josh, Martinelli going down injured as well. It just gets worse, doesn't it? I mean, thankfully we got a little break and hopefully it's not too much, but if he's out for a while, what the hell are we going to do?
I mean, it's getting a bit silly now with, I don't know what's going on upstairs with the board of his Arteta, but, you know, we January transfer window, we were crying, even if he gets someone on loan or anyone you don't particularly fancy, get someone just for squad depth. You know what I mean? And now we put ourselves in a situation where, all right, we don't know how long Martinelli's injured for. Hopefully he's not gone for too long. But if he is, I mean, we're this title race. We still got a lot to play for, really. You know, we're still in Champions League.
Exactly.
We could. I'm not saying we could win it, but you know, we're still in the competition, so we can. The title race is thereabouts a little bit. You know, I just don't understand why we haven't got anybody. You know, I understand January deals are difficult to do and a lot of stuff behind behind the backward and all that sort of stuff there. That's all great, but I mean, and it doesn't take an iron time to realize you've got Jesus injured, you've got Saka injured. Our squad was already short as it is already, and now we've got Martinelli, and we don't know how God willing, it's not that serious. It's not looking good. You know what I mean? It's not looking good.
And when you think, like, you make a good point that January transfers are hard to get over the line, but when you've got the likes of Manchester City forking out 55 million for Mamouche, who is currently one of the best informed strikers in Europe.
He is.
And we were throwing around figures of 60, 70 million for the likes of Ollie Watkins. Something's gone wrong.
Yeah. It's gone. It's gone. I don't know. Again, we don't know what.
Yeah.
You know, there's probably stuff behind the closed door that they tried to do earlier and just didn't get through done. But to go through the window to get nobody and to make me right. It doesn't make any sense. I know Arsenal. I knew they weren't going to bring any, but I had that hope that I was going to be proven wrong. You know, but you know, I don't know if you've seen that movie, Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah,
and in Red goes, it's the hope that kills you. The hope that really kills you every time, Arsenal.
We even talked about it on Monday when we did a recording before the transfer deadline. That there's not been any whispers, but there's always hope that in the last 2 hours, someone will come up and it will just be a lone move and it will just be another body. But no, nothing at all. And I mean, Craig, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention their second goal. What on earth Raya was doing at the back, I have no idea. Trying to play it out under that pressure. All of the passing from the back in this game was risky. Like, Newcastle, to their credit, pressed incredibly well. But Raya gave the ball away, Bruno picks it up, feeds Gordon, bang, 2-0, and the game is over. What did you make of that situation, Craig?
When he does it in matches, I just get nervous. I'm like, don't do it, please don't do it. It works sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. I'm like, don't do it. Honestly, I don't like the modern day goalkeepers when they play the ball on the back. And I don't like it. I know everyone wants to do this new Pep thing, but Pep's the best at doing what he does. When Arteta's not Pep, so he shouldn't do that tactics of making the goalkeeper play it short, play it out. It works it looks good when it comes off, but when it doesn't come off, it looks horrible. And tonight it was very horrible because teams are going to look at that now. I think that's how we're going to play against Arsenal. If they play out the short at the back, we're going to come and press them high and get the ball off them and go through on goal. So I wasn't really impressed with that goal. That goal was preventable if it just hit up long. So yeah.
Yeah. And it happened again towards the end of the game as well. Realistically, Josh, this game should have been 4 or 5-0 to Newcastle, shouldn't it? I mean, Jamie Patterson, he messaged us on the group chat. I don't even recognise this Arsenal team at the moment with how poor that performance was. Like, are you surprised they only put 2 past us?
No. Well, yeah, I'm a little bit surprised, actually. I'm a little bit surprised. Playing out the back. I mean, I'm not really a fan of playing out the back. I'm kind of old school Sam Allardyce. I think you always concede more goals than score goals by doing that. But that's the way Arteta wants to play, and that's what happens with the risk. I'm not even too annoyed because that's what's going to happen from time to time. You're going to lose the ball, and you're going to give away goals like that. It's just annoying. You gave away goals like that in a game. Fairly, we weren't really in it, and for me, the game was a loss at the Emirates Stadium. We had our chances, we didn't take them. The difference is they've got a great number 9 and we've got Havertz, and that's I'm not even trying to take it, take the mickey, but it's a big transition there. They've got someone who's fighting for Golden Boot, and I don't think Havertz has hit double figures in the league yet for goals, and he's played I think he played every Premier League game apart from one, and another one I think he was ill, so
Yeah, it's a natural finish because Havertz does things like you say, not actually trying to take the mick this time, like genuinely. Havertz does do things, but in this game, he was bloody useless. Every time someone challenged him, he'd hit the deck looking for a penalty. Every time he got the ball, it was overhit, over controlled. Every time he tried to make even a sideways pass, he overhit it. It's not just the fact that he's not a number 9. He has no confidence at the moment. So even when he's doing the stuff that he's meant to be good at, he can't do it.
For me, it's like, when you got your milkman and he delivers your milk for you, your postman. He does his job and you don't thank him. You probably don't even see him. And Havertz, the stuff that he does that people say, oh, you look at his stats. I don't know, Edmund's one of them. You look at his stats and he's all great and he does all these things there. He does things that he's supposed to do as a football player.
Yeah.
He's supposed to do those things. Yeah. He's supposed to work hard. He's supposed to run. Havertz he's not Ronaldinho. He's not one of those Brazilian guys that can just ease into any team and just do a little 2 things and he's won the game for you. Havertz has to work. If he doesn't work, he doesn't play football. It's as simple as that.
I mean,
I'm fed up with him. I'm fed up with him.
What other career could Kai Havertz have realistically? I'm trying to think what sort of job Kai would fit.
I thought he'd be used to everything.
Right. This is our homework for this weekend. Come up with a job that we think Kai Havertz can actually do. Right. We're only going to do 2 sections today because they're going to be 2 longer sections. So we're going to take a little break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the big talking points from the game, which is Newcastle, how good they were and whether they're our bogey team. William Saliba and what went wrong there. The housery, which is continuing this time from Newcastle's perspective, and just how good Newcastle have been recently. So we're just going to have a quick break and hear from our sponsors at Zencastr. Here at Global Sports Podcast Network, we spend a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr. And welcome back to this final section of the Daily Arsenal podcast. We're reflecting on what was a torrid match against Newcastle. And we do have to, Craig, give Newcastle their flowers because we were not in that game from minute one because they were so good. We were poor, but they were brilliant. And it does feel as though Newcastle, especially at St James's Park, have become a bit of a bogey team for Arsenal recently.
I agree. I thought you have to give credit to what's the manager's name again?
Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe. He set up the team very well. He played five at the back. I don't know if you guys realized he had five at the back. He had three centre backs, and he had two Trippier right back and Lewis Hall left back. And they did a good job on the players. They couldn't get past them. They just worked in as a unit, and they just gave the creating. They gave us no space to break through that defense. So credit where credit is due. Newcastle deserve to win the both games. They played a better football. We were very toothless. Maybe we're a bit overconfident that we beat City on Sunday, that we're going to go into this game and roll them over. We're not. We didn't have the thing is we don't have a plan B. That's the biggest problem at Arsenal. We don't have a plan B off the bench who can come on and change the game. I mean, like a striker or a winger or someone. Sterling came on.
I was going to say, you mean Sterling's not good enough to change a game, Craig?
maybe 6 years ago, maybe. The City Sterling would have changed the game, but not the Sterling I've seen right now. No.
Not the Chelsea corrupted Sterling. I mean, I thought, Craig, you mentioned him just then. I actually thought, as much as he was a pain in the arse, I thought Trossard had probably the best game I've seen from him for years. Defensively as well, he was brilliant, I thought, tonight.
Yeah.
And speaking of defensively, Josh, William Saliba, I, in fact, messaged the group a message that I never, ever thought I would send at 70 minutes. I said, I think Saliba needs to get hooked here because I didn't see the France game, but I think that's the worst game of football I've ever seen William Saliba play. What did you make of his performance tonight? Was it just being rattled, or was he off it from minute one and it wasn't just Isaac?
When you play football, you get those off days, and just a bad day at the office for him. You know, I mean, nothing really went right for him. I think Isaac. I think he is kind of our bogey man. Gabriel and Saliba do have problems defending against him in the past, and he gets the better of them, and that's what happened today. You know, I wouldn't look too much into it because he has been consistent most of the season. You know, we all have those off days where we don't do well. So, hopefully he can, sort himself out and be up for the Leicester game.
That's very true. We do all have off days and off games. I mean, a few weeks ago, I trapped a finger between two barrels and was out of action for the rest of the day at work. Like we all have those off days where things just don't go our way. And to be fair, like you say, Isaac is a particular problem for those two. He's got them down.
Yeah.
But then when you look at Gabriel Saliba against Erling Haaland, they don't give him a sniff.
Yeah, I think with him, I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit of a rivalry there because it wasn't. I know they were talking about at the Etihad there was a problem, but I think there was a problem beforehand as well. Last season, there was a bit of it was not as nasty as it's been this season, but it was a bit. It's been ongoing. So and they have kind of kept him quiet for majority of when they've had him. They played against him.
Yeah.
So but yeah, but fair play to Newcastle. I think what I like about them as well is that, they haven't done what City done, just splash the cash. Thank God for FFP, they're not able to do that. They've slowly got the right players and they've got a really tight unit team, and I think they can give a real push for top four. I don't think they'll get it, but I think they'll be there close.
You're right. It is nice to see a team who's bought out by a country, basically. And, the whole buying thing was a little bit shady, but everything got cleared in the end. And you're right. City, when they first got bought out by the Qataris, spent so much money.
Yeah.
But Newcastle have done it smartly, like good signings, bit by bit, like bringing Tonali in, bringing Guimaraes in, like Dan Burn bringing him back, and Lewis Hall, a great acquisition, and then the likes of Isaac. So little good signings, like never really busting the bank on one, but getting good, consistent players in. So they've done it well. And speaking of what Josh just said there, nastiness, Craig, Arsenal have got a lot of stick especially Arsenal fans, and I think this is an Arsenal bias from other fans personally, about the fact that, Miles Lewis-Skelly was really rude doing Haaland's celebration, and Gabriel shouldn't have shouted at Erling Haaland. That was very unpleasant to do. But, I mean, the housery coming out of Newcastle tonight was ridiculous. Bruno doing keepy-uppies, for one, in the 40th minute, when they were 1-0 up. And then Trippier, the entire game, just gobbing off to everybody. Like, because I know my answer for this, but I'm curious to you, do you enjoy it when, obviously it's bad, it's not as fun when it happens to you, but do you like that side of the game?
It's fun. You get that. It's banter, isn't it? It's like players try to wind up other players to get them sent off, and they try and get the rile up the fans as well. Done it before. Even when Gary Neville was talking about the other day, saying it was out of order, but he did it against Liverpool many years ago. Remember when they beat Liverpool 1 at Old Trafford, and he was celebrating in front of the Liverpool fans. He was running, pulled his shirt down and started doing that celebration. I think he got fined for it. He did get fined for it, but now he's saying that we can't do that. Well, there's a lot of hypocrisy in the game right now, and it's like, anything Arsenal do bad, they want to punish us for. Anything other clubs do, they want to say, "Oh, it's all right, don't worry about it." So yeah,
you're right. Neville was a nasty little get when he was playing.
Yeah,
I mean, Josh. So I actually spoke to Jules about this earlier, because he kind of a little bit came with the idea of, it was a bit out of order. But if you remember rightly, in the 2-2, Haaland threw a ball at Gabriel's head, told Arteta to stay humble, and then asked a 17-year-old, who even are you? And we get grief for that sort of thing, but we see it in Newcastle and we take it in our stride. So is it just people trying to make headlines, do you think, and trying to paint Arsenal as the knobheads of football?
I think it's part of the game, I think it's part of the game. I played football on Saturday, and literally the same situation happened. This one guy, people were saying he'd been a bit too aggressive, and then after the game, we just came back and we won, and he screamed in someone's face, and it almost got into a fight, And the funny part of all that day is that I did the nastiest tackle all day, and everyone and no one said anything to me. I literally took out the guy. I felt awful afterwards. I was literally trying to get the ball, but I took him out. It was it could have broken his leg.
For some reason, Josh, I can entirely see you being a slightly sneaky, dirty player.
Oh yeah, I am. Anything to win, man. Anything to win. So the comments that Gary Neville was making, he's talking nonsense, mate. It's part of the game. Do you know what I mean? Not like he's going out there swearing at him or insulting him and things. He just did his celebration. I mean, it's not like he's trademarked it. You know what I mean? Like anyone can do it.
Yeah, he's not done a Gareth Bale. By the way, Gareth, come at me, son.
we don't have the money yet.
That's true. Actually, yeah. Please don't come at me. I'm a bartender. Don't come at me. That's basically the game, boys. I mean, the last thing that I want to ask is, how happy are you that the boys are finally going to Dubai? It feels like it's a little bit late in the year, but reports are they're finally going to Dubai, Craig.
If it can bring us a title end of the season, go and recharge the backs for a couple of days or so. How long you'll be out there for? So I think the whole team needs a rest anyway. The players look jaded. I think Saliba looked very jaded tonight. Gabriel looks jaded. Timber looks jaded. The whole team. I'm not making excuses for them, but probably they've played an awful lot of matches recently. Champions League, Premier League, League Cup. They haven't had a rest. Like other teams are able to rotate their players. We haven't been able to rotate our players. So, I think this will do them very good.
You're right. It will do. And I mean, Josh, I remember we were talking right at the start of the season when we started the Daily Arsenal podcast. The only shame, really, is that Ben White's injured. He's not going to be able to go and top off his tan.
Yeah. We do miss him, Ben White. And that injury came out of the blue as well. Hopefully the boys can get a good rest. I mean, I know there's been extra games as well because of the Champions League, the format of that now. So I understand that, they are human at the end of the day and they probably are tired of a rest. But hopefully, when they do get that rest, I want to see some good performances. I want to see some challenges. Don't get this rest and we don't win. No matches. And we don't win nothing.
If you're going to go to Dubai for 10 days, boys, you better come back ready.
Yeah.
Because it's us who pay for the shirts and the merch that pay your wages. So pull your fingers out, have a bit of sleep, keep training, and come back ready to win something. Ready? Do you know what? Ready to win the Champions League.
Yes.
Why not that?
Yeah.
We'll have that. If you pull that off, lads, then we'll be happy. We'll be smiling at the end of the season. Anything less, we're out.
We're fuming.
Okay, maybe not, but Anyway, that is it for the Daily Arsenal podcast today. Thank you all very much for listening. I've been your host, Josh Vince. They were Craig Matthews and Joshua Duncan. We'll be back tomorrow with that Manchester City review crossover episode that we did do before the Newcastle game. So when I mentioned being hopeful about the Newcastle game, ignore it. It was blind optimism. Anyway, have a lovely day and we'll be with you tomorrow. Till then, take care and goodbye.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.